Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome everyone this evening. There's a couple chairs up here yet too if you wanted to come in yet as well, just to let you know. First item is, are there any additions to the agenda this evening? No? Okay. Thank you. Now we'll move to item 2, public hearings. We have.
Can I ask for approval of the agenda?
Oh yes, sorry.
Motion to approve as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. On to item 2, the public hearing resolution 2024-11-1201, Central Basin 4 assessment roll. Nate?
Mayor and Council, the city is proposing the final steps and special assessments for the Central Basin 4 project. December 12 of 2022, the council approved resolution 2022-12-12-01, which is the resolution of necessity for the Central Basin 4 project. That resolution established the basis for a special assessment on this project in keeping with resolution 2020-10-26-02, public infrastructure financing framework. The resolution in front of you includes the final calculation of the improvements to each property as well as the total assessment for each property. In each case, you'll find that the total of the improvements benefiting the subject property exceeds the cost being assessed to the property. Please keep in mind, some of the assessments were reduced under the 10% of assessed value rule established by the City Council in Resolution 2023-01-23-03. Tonight's meeting includes a public hearing on the assessment roll in keeping with the SDCL Chapter 9. Mayor, I think it'd be worth, at this point, I recommend opening the public hearing for comment.
All right, we'll open the public hearing at 7:02 p.m. Just heard some information from Nate. We'll ask if there's any public input to come up to the podium at this time. This is specific to this agenda item as well. And please come up to the podium and say your name and address, and please keep your remarks to 2 minutes.
My name is Joyce Pingree and I live at 101 South Elm. And I was here in June for the meeting, the hearing, and it was canceled. And so now I'm here again, 5 months later, I might know 5 months later. And I still have the same issues. My cement, my driveway's falling apart. There's a couple guys came and looked at it. They weren't very friendly. They went and, I tried to talk to them, they went and got their pickup and walked away, drove away. I still don't have any grass on my boulevard. And I had a cement concrete guy come and look, and he said just to repair the driveway would be $5,000. Thank you.
Mayor and Council, just as a note on any issues that are still outstanding, we are in our warranty period, and any concrete, grass, any of the issues that are noted, are still, punch list items or warranty items.
So what's our guarantee? Do we have anything in writing that says it's?
1-year warranty on all work, yes. From project end,
And who's gonna make sure it gets done?
the city does.
Okay, how would you do that?
Any other comments? Please come forward, please.
Room fills up and
Come
no
on up.
one wants to comment on this? Kinda irresponsible. Okay, my name, Ryan Renz, 304 South Academy Street. And the way I understand this is a meeting to address this special assessment for, okay. So I'll just read it, should take not too long. I'm addressing the board tonight pertaining to my special assessment of $19,551 for 304 South Academy Street, Lennox, South Dakota. This assessment should be levied on the amount of special benefit that I receive from the project according to the state law. According to the amounts levied, all members of the project receive the same special benefit. However, I had a good working curb, gutter, sidewalk, nice boulevards, grass with good streets, redone last in 2004. I have no need for a sump pump drain. I did, however, have a need for curbside sewer cleanout, installed 2004 resolution, necessity of street sewer water project, that was moved from the project. It was removed during the project, I should say. The 2004 project did stop the sanitary sewer from backing up in my basement during a hard rain, but the CB4 project caused the problem to reappear. I assume that's more water coming down it, coming down. I feel the work done on around my home was done to benefit the drainage issues north of the railroad as stated by the administration and council, and I received no special benefit from this work. Therefore, no special assessment should be levied upon my family for this project. The money was already budgeted for CB4 in excess of the cost of the project. $20,000 for one family to pay is excessive to replace existing, when other citizens of the community receive the same reconstruction without having to pay a special assessment. Thank you, Mayor, Board, for hearing my grievance.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
Hi, I'm Teresa Bruton at 105 South Elm. My house was the house that the pipe got pulled out from under due to the limitations of the insurance that was provided or whatever for this project. There was a limit to how much I could be compensated, and it was grossly under what it should have been, considering an accident put me in the hospital, actually almost killed me. I don't feel like I should have to pay a single penny for any of the work that was done, because if the damage happened, then what was spent on fixing whatever it was y'all were trying to fix. So not now, not ever, should I have to pay a special assessment of a single penny. That's my opinion on the matter.
And everything that took place was reported to the city?
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, it was reported through, yes, it was. Hospital stays, 2 surgeries. Mhm.
What, I would imagine the contractor's insurance is.
It would be due to the contractor's insurance.
Pardon me?
It'd be under the contractor's insurance, yes.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the terms of that settlement are. That's something we're not privy to, so.
Right.
They only had $100,000 in coverage, so that is all that I was awarded. Because they were told that is all they were required to have. So there was nothing for medical, there was nothing for damages, there was nothing for hospital stays, nothing for the contents being ruined.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? Okay, seeing that there's no one else, I would entertain a motion to approve the resolution 2024-11-1201 Central Basin 4 assessment roll.
So moved.
Can we have a motion? Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Any discussion with city council? Okay. All in favor, are we doing a roll call on this?
You do not need to do a
No,
roll call.
okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. And motion carries. Okay, I now declare that the public hearings are closed at 7:09 PM. Okay, thank you. On to the next item, which is visitors to be heard. This is an opportunity to please come forward to the podium. If there's something you want to share, just to give you kind of advance warning here. If this is in reference to the Department of Corrections, the sewer connection, we're gonna have time there and at that agenda item for public comment to share then. So if there's something specific that's not on the agenda that someone would like to come forward and share public comment, please do that. Again, state your name and address, and please keep it to 2 minutes. Okay, thank you. On to the consent agenda. Look for a motion to approve the consent agenda, but Nate, are there any items that you'd like to draw attention to or council members wish to discuss?
A few items for you here, Mayor and Council. Usually we would have the finance report on here, the first meeting in November. I think we've got it wrapped up, but I want to review it before we do. Obviously, we're kind of working on it if I turn around there. That's a report I've never run before, so. We've got a couple of agreements in here, pretty standard agreements, the workers' compensation renewal, health insurance renewal, and connecting kids agreement, all standard agreements. So we'll note though on the South Dakota Health Pool plan, they consolidated plans and changed the one that we were under. So no significant difference, simply cut back from 6 plans to 3. Then we have the alcohol license renewals that are due, I think by the end of the month. We've got those in early, which I think is a record. But they're all set and ready to roll back to the Department of Revenue.
Council members discussion at all?
I didn't see the Legion on
Motion to
the,
approve consent agenda.
I didn't see the Legion on the alcohol license renewal. Are they just do it a different time of year, or are they not subject to the license renewal?
That should be in there. Mayor, can I see your folder? Okay. Yep, Legion is in there as well, my apologies.
Okay.
It's in the packet.
Thank you for clarifying.
I'll second Sam's motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Any further discussion?
Yes, thank you for keeping the relationship with the Sioux Empire United Way intact to allow scholarships for financially strapped kids that want to participate in our programs. It's nice that we have that available for folks, and hopefully those that need to know or should know that it's out there do. I'd recommend that we send out some information on our app just as a reminder that this is available. It's I would hate for a kid to be excluded because they're wondering how they're gonna make ends meet.
Any further discussion?
That's something we could, and we'll have to remember to do it, but I think it's something we can do every time we have a new registration go out. I think it's worthwhile.
Yeah.
Whether it's swimming lessons or otherwise, to make sure that that language is in there.
Definitely, it sounds like we don't get a lot of active participation with it, and if we can, again, bring more kids into community, I think that helps everybody.
All right, no further discussion, we'll do roll call to approve the consent agenda. Welch.
Aye.
Bowers.
Aye.
Vandrow.
Aye.
Doherty.
Aye.
Mauer.
Aye.
Swear.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. On to old business. First item is the Department of Sewer connection. Nate, you wanna kick this one off?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. The City of Lennox and Department of Corrections have been in discussions for several months regarding a potential connection from the new men's prison to the Lennox wastewater treatment facility. After months of public discussions and public engagement, we've developed an agreement for consideration by the City Council tonight. I did not update this memo with the late additions today, but we have discussed with the state language that would require us to cooperate in the mitigation of gas buildup or gas accumulation. Did confirm this afternoon that the Harrisburg plan was a bar screen and grinder pumps. So that is something that we anticipate for this as well. In terms of rates, we're looking at $52,500 a month in base rate payments, a volume flow rate from 175,000 gallons to 200,000 gallons a day of $6 per thousand, and an additional volume flow rate of 9 per thousand over 200,000 gallons a day. This comes with an upfront payment of $10,500,000, and I recommend a motion to approve.
Thank you. We'll open this up for public comment. Before we do, I'm gonna invite Ryan Brunner up from the governor's office. You wanna share a few things?
Yeah, members of the city council, it's a pleasure to be back. I was here 2 months ago and had a chance to visit with you. At that time, when we were just starting the conversation as to whether or not Lennox would be a potential solution for wastewater from the men's prison. As I said at that time, I'm a former city councilor myself, and we used to work in economic development and worked on some of these sewer agreements. They do take time to develop and discuss, but over the last couple of months, as Nate said, our engineers have worked with your engineers, and our attorney has worked with your attorney, and Nate and I have worked together to come up with the agreement you have tonight. Nate touched on the specifics of the payment arrangement. The one thing I would say is that the $10,500,000 comes from restructuring the previous deal that we discussed with Harrisburg. Harrisburg had a $9,000 per month connection fee, so $9,000 per month for 12 months over 30 years. We're prepaying that, and so that fee is not in the agreement. We're paying that additional $3.2 million up front to help you offset the approximate $4.5 million worth of upgrades that you'll need to do to the city wastewater treatment plant. And so that's how we came up with that. Is revenue neutral from the state perspective. We're paying more money up front and not paying it out over those 30 years. Allows us to use ARPA money, federal money we have available to us now versus general funds that would be paid over the next 30 years as well. So it works out well for us from that standpoint. The ARPA funds do need to be under contract this calendar year. Then they could be spent anytime in the next 2 years, but we need to have them under contract this year, which is why we're here tonight and have a timeline for being able to reach an agreement with the city of Lennox. And so appreciate your consideration of that. As we look at these ARPA dollars, this agreement is authorized by Senate Bill 49 from the last legislative session, which authorized us to enter into agreements for utilities. And so we've proceeded with that in this agreement as well as our other utility agreements. And so here mostly talk about sewer at a very high level. I'll say something I think that we've said publicly before, the current prison needs to be replaced. It's not safe for our staff. It's not safe for the inmates that are in the facility. A facility that was built in 1881, there's not really a way to make it safe and into a modern correctional facility. And so that's why the state's proceeding to pursue building a new correctional facility. Similar to Harrisburg, though, this agreement does not specify outside of the recitals where the location of the prison is. So if there was legislation to relocate the prison, it would likely be within 10 miles of Lennox, but we're not, this for you tonight is not a vote as to the specific location of the prison. The vote would be to have us purchase capacity for the $10,500,000, which is intentional terms because that's what's eligible for those federal ARPA dollars. And so that's what we're asking you to approve tonight. I'm not sure if Mitch from Stockwell is here.
Mitch is not going to be here quite yet, so.
So Mitch was coming as well, but Stockwell Engineer did a lot of work on this, fantastic job, appreciate them and your city attorney and the hours they spent going through the different designs and talking to our engineers as to the potential solutions and getting here with that final language. Yeah, so happy to answer any questions or wait for the public comment.
I think we'll have council, if we have questions specific for Ryan, to open that up now.
Ryan, you mentioned that this site is not finalized.
Well, in the state's perception, the state was finalized and authorized with the purchase of land authorized by the legislature in 2023. That's been a topic of legislative discussion. The final construction of the prison is not finalized. There'll have to be one more bill authorizing final construction. So the utilities were authorized this last year, so we can enter into this agreement tonight and pay Lennox the $10.5 million. But the final construction of the prison has been a topic of debate throughout the interim appropriations committee. And so we believe that we're planning on moving forward with the current location. That's what we've told the legislature, what the Department of Corrections has told the legislature. But when I was in Harrisburg, I said litigation or legislation. The litigation was partially resolved. My understanding is the appeal was filed on that either yesterday or today. I just saw the notice this morning. So there is still pending litigation on that topic. But so in our opinion, the location is, we've been looking for 160 acres within 20 miles of Sioux Falls, and this site meets the criteria set out by the Legislative Summer Study Committee and the DLR report. So that's how we ended up at this spot.
Thank you.
One piece of information that I thought was interesting, that this is the third utility agreement that we're working on, or the state's working on. You already have electrical, you already have water.
Yeah, electric, water, natural gas. So
Okay.
actually four.
Okay.
The fourth agreement. So there'll be a construction manager at risk. That price and agreement will be discussed on Thursday with the Joint Committee on Appropriations. I can't discuss those details tonight, but that price has recently been developed by our construction manager at risk. So that'll be coming out before the end of the week.
And if, a question I have, Ryan, for you is that council approves this tonight and we move forward, state cuts us a check for $10.5 million. Is there a chance that the state asking for that money back because for whatever happens and with our legislators that push pause or whatever happens, is there a chance of that being asked back?
So the $10.5 million of federal ARPA dollars have to be committed before the end of this year. So if we were to take the money back, we would have to give it to the federal government. So we're not looking to take the $10.5 million, the upfront money back. It would be a capacity purchase. So again, we would look to locate the prison in this area, just like the current location is. But so the $52,500 per month in payments doesn't start until the prison's in operations.
Right, yeah.
So they're determining the agreement about the legislature appropriating funds for the payment, and that would take place once the prison was up and operational.
Just a final note on operating funds. There is a testing amount as well, so while the prison is in testing mode and we're working on getting everything set, I think we're at the $6 per thousand rate during that period. So that'll be before it's operational in construction.
Any other questions for Ryan?
Yeah, one clarifying on the site. Let's say something falls apart with the current site and you end up finding a spot a quarter mile outside of Lennox. We have no recourse to renegotiate this deal, or are we locked into that agreement?
Well, you'd be selling capacity for $10.5 million, and the state is paying for all the infrastructure to get it to the plant. And so I think the discussion that keeps coming up is whether or not it should be along the interstate or not necessarily within a quarter mile of Lennox. And so we picked the current location because it's 4 miles outside of town, and so it's close enough. It's within that criteria for folks to be able to drive. It's right off Highway 11, just a mile in on a road that will need to be developed, but it's straight down Highway 11 from the city of Sioux Falls, and so it's not on a paved road now, but it's within a mile of a paved road and in a location that's easily accessible.
What are
for
the
our workforce.
parameters on the other three utilities? Is it a similar deal to what you're talking about here, where you're buying that capacity, or is it tied to the location?
The electric substation would be on the particular property, so we have an agreement for building a substation. The water agreement would be a combination of purchasing capacity and paying for construction both, so that would be more specific to that site. But The construction hasn't started yet, so part of that would be tied to capacity purchase. The electric part of that would be tied to ordering the components and the acquirement of the, substation components. So they're designed or picked for that location, but substation components until they're installed. Right now, they're just on order. There's a significant lead time on those type of materials.
Can you elaborate a little bit on the gas mitigation agreement that was very recently agreed to?
Yeah, so the language that is in the agreement says that we'll cooperate on mitigating gas buildup.
What does that mean?
It could mean that there's, you can chemically control it, as we've heard. You could control it by the design of the lift station being such that it moves the wastewater to Lennox fast enough that gas doesn't have an opportunity to build up. And one of the things that I want to make sure is known is that the mitigation of gas or prevention of gas is something that's desirable by both parties.
Right.
It's good for us if the gas is mitigated, it's good for them if gas is mitigated. So that's how we ended up on that final language.
I think one of the options was a 10 by 15 foot welding to tie in with the aerator that Stockwell recommended. So that would be an option where the state would have to acquire potentially an easement for 10 foot by 15 foot from the city. So not a large amount of space, but that could help aerate the line, the chlorine addition or chemical treatment, not necessarily chlorine, the chemical treatment, which is what I believe the city of T is doing with the line going to Sioux Falls. So there are a couple of different options. What's the most cost effective and best is something the engineers are still working on, and so that's how we ended up with the cooperative language.
The question also for me, will probably come up later as well, is that what's the path of the sewer line? Has that been determined?
So we have a draft that HDR did. To do a full design would be a couple $100,000, and so they have not done a full design of that until the city would approve. They don't want to spend that money without having an agreement in place. And so that line could potentially still move, but the idea is to use as much road right of way or existing right of way as possible to get it over here and then down to the plant.
Other questions from council for Ryan? Otherwise, we'll open it up for public comment in regards to this agenda item. Yeah, thanks, Ryan. All right, public comment, if you'd like to raise your hand and come on up, and if you could state your name and address, that'd be great.
Scott Sandel with 608 South Elm. And I guess on this particular topic, I want to rise in support of you guys proceeding with this opportunity. I really do see it as an opportunity for the city of Lennox. So not to talk about whether the prison's going to happen or not happen or why it's happening, not talk about the pipeline, but the opportunity for Lennox. I do stand up in pure support of that freaking. I know you guys will do your due diligence. Thank you for that. Thank you for not spending tax money on designing a pipeline that we don't know where it's going to go yet. But for all you guys, look forward to hearing a yes vote tonight.
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? Yes, come on up.
My name's Glenda Hageda, and I live at 309 South Plain. And I was at the other meeting, at the,
Prosper.
yes. And they said, what if it gets plugged? You know, you can't keep digging up that pipeline either. That's hard on the land. That pretty soon it's not gonna be worth anything. Because they say, oh, we can get the ground level like it was, we can get all the topsoil on the top again. It don't work. And if you gotta dig it up because of a blockage, then you're up a creek.
Thank you.
Yes, come on up.
I'm Darrell Hammerstone, I live at 46-280, 282nd Street, Davis, South Dakota. But the reason I'm here is we own land just to the east of Lennox. We were born and raised here in Lennox. Very disappointed in some of the decisions Lennox has made over the past years, and hope this council doesn't carry over to a bad handover to younger generations that are coming down the way. One of the things that I want to point out is if you have a water break, and we know the land shifts in South Dakota, and you have one of them break, we have a lot of wells around here that we use for water and cattle, livestock, some are even on personal use yet. Who's going to be responsible for if you take and hurt these wells that are taking care of families and livelihoods out here? We're South Dakota neighbors of Lincoln County to you guys, and we want to take and see Lennox progress, but we don't take and want to have it on the backs of the whole Lincoln County. Lincoln County supports a lot of stuff. What's it gonna cost for our roads and all the transfer of all that stuff? The other thing, what happens if we have another one of the floods like we had this year, and you take and dump? You have a lot of your kids that fish out here in this creek. How much of that trash that these inmates flush down there of needles and stuff? We know that they all got the contraband, and they've got all that. What if one of your kids would get hurt by where they were out here fishing and they end up getting on one of them needles or infection from something like that? How would you feel that you were responsible, that you let this thing go through to take and hurt one kid in this city of Lennox, and it might be yours? The other point is, they've got room right in Sioux Falls to take and put it up. Why do they want to take and push it off these other cities? And how many other cities have turned it down, which I really respect, because of the fact the state wants to shove this down the throat of Lincoln County, and it's just not right. That the people of Lincoln County would not have a vote on it, even though it would affect all of us, and you guys are going to be the ones that can decide how you affect all of Lincoln County and your rural neighbors. Your rural neighbors come in and support your town of Lennox. And I can sure see that they wouldn't want to support you if you guys take and start shoving all at Sioux. The other question I got, we all know stuff wears out. What happens when that wears out? You're gonna get, what you're talking, $4 million, or whatever the dollar figure is. And I heard, well, we can set that back. You get another council in here and it's young ones, and they say, we got all this money, they spend that money, who's gonna rebuild that all out there for you? And you guys wanna keep building new housing, developments and everything else, who's gonna take care of all that? I would like to move to Lennox someday. I wanna retire here. But the way the council has done it in the past, I couldn't afford to live here on retirement. And you got a lot of retirement, we got friends and family. They cannot hardly make it anymore because of where your water prices, your sewer prices and all that went. And that affects down the way for years to come. And you guys are gonna be deciding for 30 years of what's gonna happen. You're talking 30 years. You guys are gonna probably be wanting to retire. Are you gonna wanna retire in Lennox the way it's set up now? You guys there are in financial trouble, but this thing could get you guys way in over your head. You need to run it like a business and not like we're gonna do it for today and tomorrow. You gotta look at 30 years ahead like we do as we're doing business. And it don't work by doing it just day to day and flying by your seat of your pants.
Thank you for sharing your concerns, Mr. Hammerstone.
Thank you.
Any other public comment in regards to this item?
Forever is a long time.
Could you state your name and address, please? Thank you.
Jean Gibbon, 4651, 282nd Street, Lennox, South Dakota.
Thank you.
money is pretty insignificant when you consider quality of life. What farmer is gonna want a sewer line going across their land for any reason? I have lived in this community for over 50 years. When I was growing up, Lennox was considered the cleanest little town in America. So in a year now, what is Lennox gonna be known as? Sewer City? The stinkiest town in America? You know, what is gonna be our draw for people? We have now lower real estate, come live in Lennox, but you can't open your windows. In January, we're gonna probably get a new governor. And they will probably say, Kelly Blasco, we're tired of dealing with these no people. Let's get a place closer to Lennox. Let's put the prison closer to Lennox. They're so good to work with. Then what? You just can't put a price tag on quality of life, and forever is a very long time.
Thank you.
Any other public comment this evening?
I'm Tom Eastland, 4774 278th Street, Canton. This is a Lennox decision, but I would ask you to consider it's a decision that greatly affects and will greatly affect the whole county and all the taxpayers in the county. Most of the taxpayers I know, I think the majority of the ones in Lincoln County think that this prison will be a tremendous burden on the county. And the taxpayers are going to shoulder that burden. I'd also add that Ryan mentioned the summer study, but he didn't mention $350,000 study that they hired done. The prison site does not meet the criteria for that study. I would refer you to that. I'm sure you can look it up online. Anyway, I just consider that it sounds to me like there's a lot of what ifs here. If it's gonna be here, or is it gonna be there, or is Lincoln County gonna be forced to accept this prison at all? I would suggest it might not be a bad idea until you find out where the thing is gonna be before you sign a contract. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Sam Eastland, Camp, South Dakota. You guys got a big decision to make. I've obviously been at the forefront of this issue for quite some time now. But you guys really need to look at the thing that we've been dealing with as a whole, as a transparency. Where's the fine print? There's legislators, there's contractors as of late that are very frustrated with the DOC and the state for the lack of transparency. I mean, they're going back and forth. They don't know exactly what this thing's gonna cost. The bid letting for a lot of the projects on the site doesn't go out until tomorrow. The DOC meets with the appropriations the next day. Well, you can't tell me that they're gonna have any real numbers when the bid letting doesn't go out. They're willy-nilly. So I ask you to really take a step back and look at it. They're gonna, if it goes through, they're gonna need sewer. They're gonna come back. They're gonna need it. But let's let the dust settle and really see what's gonna happen with this thing before you guys take on a project like this that, like everybody said, could last 30, could last 100 years. Could really affect you long term. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Mike Hoffman, Canton, South Dakota. The symbol it sends, or the message it sends of accepting this, and we call it a bribe, $10,000, whatever you wanna call it, $10 million. The message it sends to the rest of the state, or even to the Department of Corrections, they sound pretty secure about the site. I'm named on the lawsuit. I'm pretty confident it's not gonna go there as well with our legal team. So whether I'm right or the state's right, if it doesn't settle there, you guys signed on to this, guess where it's gonna go? They're gonna look to capitalize on their investment that it did with you guys. So if that moves it closer to the interstate, like I said, that's that much closer to you. You guys are gonna drive by that every day on your way to Sioux Falls, or on Saturday when you go to get groceries or entertainment or whatever. That's, the symbol it's gonna send is horrible. You know, we're at the Harrisburg meetings, the financial numbers that we presented to them, the long-term projection of it did not make sense. Harrisburg has a brand new facility, and they're gonna overwhelm it, and the long-range projection of it, and the capacity that they were selling to rebuild that in 20, 30 years, or 10 years, whenever the capacity out, the money doesn't match up. The long-term construction of it, the long-term construction costs of it, it doesn't make sense. And, you know, yeah, when I come up here, I can see that, oh, he's from Canton, he's from Harrisburg. We're Lincoln County. We're all Lincoln County. We've been fighting this for over a year, and the dollar amounts that are assigned to it, it's not just sewer. It's not just the capacity. To make sewer, you need water, you need food, you need all this capacity to bring in there, and the numbers don't add up. What this is gonna do to Lincoln County is gonna change it. The comprehensive plan for the construction of the site, I get this isn't your part, but it all plays to it. The comprehensive plan, where it's at, doesn't fit, so they're gonna find somewhere that it is gonna fit. If that place fails, that site fails, it's gonna come closer. If you agree to this, it's coming closer to you, whatever happens. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comment?
Hello, Stacey Duchesne, 901 South Poplar, Lennox. I want to take a moment to speak in favor of the city of Lennox proceeding with a contract with the state to service a potential prison. I have a deep connection to the city as a 40-plus year resident and former mayor. I absolutely want the city to prosper and flourish. I want my kids and my grandkids to live and grow in this city. I think this opportunity is a great way for us as a municipality to move forward with the necessary upgrades to our wastewater facility. While my background isn't in sanitary sewer design, I'm fortunate to know many who are. I took the opportunity to phone a few friends, and none of them gave me any information that would give me pause about this contract. I throw my support to you in moving forward with this agreement. These are the big decisions that future generations will look back on. I think moving forward with the contract is the right decision.
Thank you.
Laura TZ 212 South Elm. So we can all agree that we've all heard both pro and con throughout the last few months about this project. I'm not saying that it's a bad project, I just don't think it's right for us, and hearing that that location could possibly change, it brings up all the other concerns that if we do pass this and if it does come closer to us, you know, what are we looking forward, not just for the sewer issue, but like what are we gonna, if that's closer here, you know, those people are, when they leave, they're gonna have to be reacclimated to the community. They're gonna have to be rehomed. And that's gonna put more of a burden on us that maybe we were not prepared for, and we projected because we had originally anticipated this other location. So it concerns me that, that these numbers are not quite as efficient as we had originally anticipated, as well as, it concerns me that there's not enough brought forward to the community from the DOC. And I'm trying to have more questions later, but that's it for me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Evening, Jeff Spexman, Canton, South Dakota. I am also a member of the NO. Couple points that I want to reiterate here is one, the transparency. We've been dealing with this for over a year. The transparency is not there. The continued lies that we're getting. Some things that we found out today, well, let me go back. So the $300,000 study that indicated the study about the prison, that was to improve 17 facilities across the state. And it was recommended to go ahead and do that. That all of a sudden just got thrown out of the way, and now we're spending $500 million on a men's prison. Why? We're wasting taxpayers' money. Not just this community, it's the whole state. Secondly, the $10 million that they're offering you, let's call it what it is, it's a bribe. They have to spend some money, they need something, let's give it to you. Why did Harrisburg turn it down? Why did Hartford turn it down? Why did Sioux Falls turn it down? Why did Canton turn it down? Why are you guys gonna accept it? Because it's just bribe, because you guys are one step farther away from the rest of us? As your neighbor, I'm gonna ask you one thing. Don't shit on your neighbors. That's what you're doing.
Any other public comment?
Good evening, Betsy Hills, Lennox, South Dakota. I'm gonna reinstate what I've heard a little bit here with public comment, and one of them is that forever is a long time. And I'll say this again, forever is a long time to not know exactly what we are getting into, which may impact the quality of life, not just for our generation, but for future generations. I encourage you all, before you make a decision, listen to Ryan's comments again. Think about it, marinate on it. If there's any indication that you want to pass something tonight, listen to his comments again. This site, not only is it in a bad location right now, but it could be moved even closer to Lennox. It's not set in stone. Secondly, we may not receive all of this money that's promised to us anyway. So I encourage you to think about those things. Another thing too, to reinstate what that gentleman just said, is if this was such a good deal, why didn't other communities jump on this when this was first offered to them? Why didn't they snatch this? Why is this coming to us? Another thing too is we don't have to do this. We do not have to do this. And Governor Nome allegedly will be at the Department of Homeland Security anyway. We do not have to do this. Please think about this, because as I said, forever is a long time when we don't know all the answers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? Otherwise, move on. Yes.
Karen Anderson, 614 South Perry. For example, as far as problems that can go with engineering, as having our street being worked on just recently, for putting in a water system, they did hit a gas line, and that was fixed. They also backed up the sewer in a person's house. That was 3 days of intel. They hit our house with the scoop, took down the decorative wall on the one side of the garage. And this is just within a street. This is guidelines that you just follow the road. I've seen how much, well, they took out our trees, everything, how much land gets taken up by a scoop just to put in a water line. Okay, so we had each other. We had a neighborhood messenger to kind of keep track of what was going on. And, you know, if you're going through farmland and stuff, you only have that farm. You only have yourselves for someone to speak to if there's a problem. And if there's a problem again, they're gonna go in again and fix it. So that's just that. And then you're talking about the money. You're gonna have to go back in, fix it. Think of the money racking up over time if there's a problem. Also, I want to thank everybody for showing up and saying something. Because, you know what, down the road, how many of you worry about your generation, the next generation? Raise your hand. Seriously, okay? When your kids come to you and they say, oh, I really don't want to live in Harrisburg, because things have gone down a little bit, because the prison, that's only 3-4 miles away. You know, where were you, Mom? Where were you, Mom, when that time happened? Did you stand up for this? Did you not want this? Yeah, I stood up. Now, but unfortunately, someone introduced it to another city and brought it back in. And so I wonder, what would you say to your kids when the time comes? How did this ever happen? What was your part down the road? Because down the road, honestly, come on, deep down inside, you know it's gonna hurt a town, and you know those taxes are gonna go up. 2 grinders you're gonna have to put on that, on your water thing to get, for all that flushing down of all this stuff that's over there. Yeah, right, it is 2 grinders. I told them the first one, okay? So I just want to thank everybody for showing up.
All right. Any other comment from the public? Discussion within council. Otherwise, I will entertain a motion to approve the Department of Corrections sewer connection.
I guess I'll just comment.
I will make a motion to approve the Department of Corrections sewer connection.
Second.
Okay, we have a
Mayor,
motion
can I ask
and a
for
second.
clarification on that motion to approve the agreement?
Brittany, do you want to say that to approve the agreement with the Department of Corrections?
That is correct.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Further discussion within council?
I just want to comment that I think the council has done more research on this item than any item that I've been part of since on my 4 years of council. So I know we put in our due diligence and a ton of research, a ton of site visits to the wastewater treatment plant, fully understanding, diving in and understanding what we are getting into. I think we have a good handle of what we are getting into. So this is not a decision we took lightly at all. It's a very researched and educated decision.
I agree. It's been a long time going through this, or short time, but a lot of information. A couple of months worth of daily work to try and get to a point where it makes sense or doesn't make sense. But giving it due diligence was absolutely job one. You know, being approached by or reaching out to a large industrial customer that can give us a real boon to our community in services rendered is a solid business decision. And that's ultimately when we vet out exactly what our wastewater treatment facility is capable of accomplishing. Speaking with the experts about that we employ and that we lean on for information, namely our engineer, it adds up, it makes sense. Looking at odor and the possibility of there being odor in a community we all call home. It's not the big issue. It's not going to be the big issue. Looking at waste and backing up into people's basements, that's not where this is going. It's piped out to the plant. It's not piped into our town sewer system. Looking at a major water event and what happens, we've had 3 in 10 years, 14, 19, 24. We processed 10.5 million gallons of water in 3 days back in this past late spring, summer. If we look at 3 days worth of at 175,000 gallons a day, we're looking at 5% of the volume that we dealt with. We will then have larger capacity because of the drying beds that we're going to put in to handle this in case of a rain event or in case of just for the need of processing. There's a whole lot here that makes a lot of sense with an industrial customer that's looking to use our facility.
Yeah, I mean, the topic we're discussing isn't whether we agree with the prison. That isn't our choice. We don't have the ability to stop the prison from being built, or it's hinging on us for it being built. So I mean,
You do have
that's
to
really
really
what we're,
stop them right here.
there's other options they can pursue.
So the rural people that support the town of Lennox, what we feel means nothing to you, as the way we take it. So if that's the case, we don't need to do business in Lennox and take that tax dollars away from you too. Because we bring a lot of business into town, we treat us like our hometown. And we feel like, as far as Lincoln County rural people, you do not care about any of us or what our feelings are. What our livelihood is out there, if we get that crap down in our wells, what do? Do we come back to you? Are you gonna fix our wells? Is that little fellow over there gonna fix them? I don't think he is being straight with you, no way, no how. I think we own land, if we wanna take and sell an acreage off of that, which we have the rights to sell, are you gonna wanna buy an acreage if that sewer pipe's going by there? If that would leak and take and it's gonna affect their kid, you guys aren't only affecting yourselves and fixing what you think you're fixing, you are actually affecting all of Lincoln County is what you guys are affecting right now. By backing up what this little fellow over here tries to lie to you about. And that's what a lot of his stuff
Daryl,
is.
appreciate your adamancy for this, but we did have a chance for public comment, so this is discussion within council.
That's fine, but that stuff needs to be said too. And you guys are jumping into it way over your head.
There, discussion within council.
I think it was brought up, somebody was talking about water being extremely high. That's one thing we're trying to accomplish with this, is that is a concern of our citizens within Lennox, is our water is high. And it's high because we have to have all these surcharges that we've had to finance and fix our town that's been upgraded. So this is gonna give us a great opportunity to drastically affect the water bill for our community. And that's been loud and clear to us, that's something we need to address, and this is an opportunity for us to address that.
I wanted to add to what Councilman Swear just stated. I appreciate the additional discussion on this and just some clarification for the community. And I also want to throw out there that our water treatment plant is going to need upgrades without the prison expansion. And that will increase water bills, that will increase fees. And with this, we're looking at the fees going down rather than going up double time, because we need to expand our plant and improve our plant in the future regardless.
They don't listen to nobody else. And if they get all this studies, I can't believe it's studies. That little fellow's a liar.
Thanks, Brittany. Any other discussion with the council? All right, seeing that there's none, we'll go ahead and vote. All in favor of the motion to, the agreement with the Department of Corrections sewer connection, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, motion does carry. On to the next item, B, ordinance 655, annual appropriations.
Mayor and council, this ordinance was approved for the first reading at the October 26th city council meeting. No changes made since that time. We recommend a motion to approve second reading.
So moved. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the ordinance 654, annual appropriations. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Okay, motion does carry.
We should take a brief recess for folks to. Yeah.
Okay,
I'd recommend just a brief 5-minute recess.
Motion to take a 5-minute recess.
a motion, second for a 5-minute recess. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
It's 8 o'clock.
Straight up.
Right on the hour.
Like a bit of a cough, huh?
Yeah, don't get too close. My husband claims it's from our insulation, but I don't know.
It's the time of the year where.
My coworker has the same cough and the same sounds. That's not from the insulation, dear.
Probably not. Probably not.
I'm not done with all.
No, you're fine.
Take these ones, Jen. Sorry, that's my bad. I got here late. I'll use this recess to get caught up.
There you go.
Kind of forgot they were here.
It's fine, it's fine.
Glad you mentioned it.
We've had a couple other things on our mind.
I haven't, I have been so bored the last.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It's done nothing.
Yeah, just chilling.
I am just
I
chilling.
looked up that, some of that stuff, like the studies and things, they're saying, like, I was supposed to say, when I went to 168 within 20 minutes.
This whole thing has been a lot of Is there something that we want to think about? We did our,
Because it's not
Yeah.
So it is what it is.
Yep. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yep, thanks for coming.
Appreciate it.
You bet.
You guys did do a ton of diligence.
Well, it's where we live.
I mean, even the stuff. We just talked about that, screening and stuff to stop the material.
Yep.
We don't want it going through the lift station. 'Cause
Right.
the material will go into the lift station. And we've said that, we've talked about the DLR study, and I don't know if Tom realizes it or not. On Thursday, they're getting a quote from the DLR study to the slide, which says approximately 160 acres, but no less than 100 acres. And they want us to put on 27 acres inside of Sioux Falls. 27 acres, well, and 300 acres. Wow, it just isn't enough.
Right.
It's expensive, it's gonna be several hundred million, but tomorrow's the groundbreaking for the new Schwann plant up in Sioux Falls.
Oh, yeah.
It's a 700,000 square foot facility, it's like about $750 million. We're gonna be building a 700,000 square foot prison, so it's not that far off. We'll see what the final price is they announce on Thursday, but
Yeah.
it's getting pretty similar.
Yeah.
But appreciate your guys' due diligence and work.
Yep.
Thanks for
We're
coming.
gonna get to the decision.
Yes.
Alright, am I reading this wrong? 12,000.
Big fella.
Mismatches. This does
It's like an
not.
African style thing you got going on.
955 versus 965. So we got $10 in here somewhere.
And part of the course for the last year's instrument lesson, appreciate you guys
I will not admit to being as good at numbers as Swear is, but I feel like.
Is this stream, did you kill the stream or?
No, it's like.
No, that's a valid question, and I think that needs clarity.
Okay. Do I ask you, Nate, or Jen about this? So I got 12,965, 12,965, then here I got 12.
It's an hour goes by. Yeah. For sure.
And then
There's
there's
a
some
hip hop
policy.
right there.
Okay.
Yeah.
You just make it do it.
Yeah. It's a little bit of a quick scratch. It's not a scratch.
Put your ears on.
No, it's
The
not
invoice and the
It's a what?
ABC.
Okay.
But the journal.
Yeah.
Basically is what it is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Is not, that's $10.
So I'm gonna do it, Monday through Friday, starting at 7:15 through 5:15 every hour, the quarter after.
Josh, you sleeping at night yet?
So for
Not anymore.
Yep.
It's good to go, yeah, because it's.
My,
So do you want me
my
to
wife
schedule
is,
the
like,
next
the other day, she's like, I feel like it's close, so.
We just have to go through it.
She'll be, what is it, like, she'll be at 37 weeks here on Sunday. So then we're kind of in the clear for everything else,
I
so.
just noticed I bought them. I don't-
We just got home last Friday.
You guys were at, your baby's at NICU?
I'll show you.
It's been a long day, Paige. I came straight from work.
Yeah.
It can only be 5 minutes. It won't even take 5 minutes.
Okay, you insist.
I can't remember, but I mean, the mayor just needs to declare a recess, doesn't have
Okay.
a motion, but we might have to go back.
That's cool. So it does a little chorus system for you.
Is Sam still on the phone? Or is it
Should
just?
be.
Yep. I just didn't hear him the last time.
No, I didn't.
Sam, are you still there?
Can't make that decision. I went down. Any new pictures?
He's taking a recess. He muted us.
Oh, Sam ran?
I don't know. I didn't hear him on the last motion, so I was wondering if he's still there.
How you holding up, Brittany?
No way.
So loaded.
No way, he's gotten bigger.
Probably not loaded anymore.
Doing well.
Brother got this nice mic.
He's got kids.
Are you also, streaming on YouTube? Brittany?
I am. It's just a couple seconds slower, but yes.
That adds to the fun.
Oh.
I did.
I just declare us out of recess to get started again?
Yep.
All right. Declare us out of recess, and it's now 8:07 p.m. On to, we're on old business yet, and to item C, Parks and Recreation reorganization.
Mayor and Council, at the October 28 meeting, you voted to advertise for Park and Recreation Director. Withheld action on the reorganization plan for further study and discussion. I included time tonight for that discussion if you desire by the council. And the documents are still in there. The current organizational chart and the Parks and Rec organizational chart are both in there for your review as well. So just willing to keep this on old business for your discussion. We will need to make a decision at some point on how we want that to work.
Is there any benefit to finding the candidate first before deciding that forward? Is there anything within the org that might dictate how we structure it?
You could end up on a candidate that is stronger in one area than the other.
Yeah.
Maybe stronger in the recreation side, but not so strong in the park maintenance side. But I think if you're going to make it a full-time position, it needs to be somebody that's got the skills in both of those.
Well, in all instances, it looks like they would oversee the park maintenance either way, right? I mean, they're gonna be overseeing the staff.
In the options that I put forward, yes, but it's not like there aren't more options.
Sure.
You could keep parks maintenance under streets, But one of our challenges has been getting,
Allocate resources.
yes, and making sure that our street crews have enough time to spend on those projects and not, this week they're gonna start pulling apart a playground.
Yeah.
Nate, can you clarify for option number one, does the seasonal groundskeeper follow the parks and street maintenance specialist?
2 streets?
Correct.
No, they would be seasonal just under parks.
So regardless of the option, kind of like what Lauren said, you'd have a seasonal groundskeeper that would report to the Parks and Rec director, that would be doing the maintenance, I guess, on the fields or prepping the fields, correct? Like they would oversee that process?
The season, in each of the options, there would be at least 1 seasonal groundskeeper. I think the other 2 have 3. In that position, think mostly somebody that's going to be sitting on a mower, getting those basic needs done, cleaning the restrooms, cleaning the campground, shower house, those kinds of things. I assume that they're also going to be doing some field prep, but under option 1, you also have this parks and street maintenance specialist that's overseeing all of that work in the park. So you could, for example, have somebody that's really strong in recreation, not as strong in parks. And option 1 may be a good option there because you've got somebody else who's already putting that effort in.
And you found option 1 to be most appealing, as I recall, through our last discussion, because it still allows for the existing attention on streets.
It keeps that, it's the cheaper of the 2 options that accomplish that goal. The other option was option 2, and that moves us to 3 full-time positions under streets. 3 full-time street maintenance specialists, 4 full-time positions total. But that was another, I want to say $10,000 a year, if I remember right.
13.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's the cheaper of the 2 options.
So the most ideal option is 2. It just costs a little extra money.
It does.
In last meeting, we didn't know the outcome of IM 28, and now knowing that that didn't pass, that helps us a little bit, knowing that we'll have our general fund and our second penny fund, where they're at today, hopefully.
Yeah, we're falling behind from from budget, and we're pretty even with last year. So I think we're now seeing that taper off effect. But as the community continues to grow, we will see sales tax continue to increase. If we were to use.
Nate, with option, sorry.
Go ahead.
I'll wait till you're finished.
Okay, so if we were to use.
So with option 2.
There's such a lag.
That lag is killer.
Brittany, go ahead.
So with option 2, you lose your park specialist and it becomes 3 street maintenance specialists. So then what are we losing out on option 2 for the park specialist? That work is going to 3 seasonal groundskeepers that are seasonal, they're part-time potentially, and then it might just be oversight for that park and rec director. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I think what you would lose in that scenario is someone that during the warmer weather months, I'm not gonna say warm weather months, but from April through October, somebody to oversee the entire park operation. Somebody that's directing the seasonal groundskeepers is with them every day. Under option 2, you're not going to have that position. You will still have the Parks and Recreation Director that can provide that direction, but it's going to take a little more hands-on approach than from that position than would under option 1.
I think that just maybe reiterates that if we get the right person in for the park and rec director that would be good in leading the seasonal groundskeeper, we might be okay with that. And then that gives us 3 street maintenance specialists.
Yes. I think that's a fair assessment.
Yeah, I think what was most attractive to me about option 2 was the idea of having 3 street maintenance specialists. but I would agree that this is kind of hinged on who we find for Parks and Rec director. So I could go either with option 1 or 2 at this point.
Again, we don't need a decision tonight. I'll start interviews tomorrow, I think, on the first round. I don't think we'll have a candidate finalized by the 25th, but I do plan on having one finalized by December 18th. So, there's no reason we have to make this decision before then. What Alderman Swear was alluding to, this may be something where we wait to see what that ideal candidate looks like, what the best candidate looks like, and whether one of these options fits that candidate best.
And this org doesn't have to be forever either. If it's not.
No, we
if
change this all the time.
Right. If it's not working, we can always adjust.
And this discussion is intended to give you direction to move forward. And
Yes.
you're hearing an appetite for really staffing this properly.
Yes, and
moving forward with
I
that.
think making sure that, I anticipate questions, this being a new position, from the candidates on what supervision and leadership looks like in this position. And I think I need to be able to speak knowledgeably to what those options really are and where you guys are all at as well, so.
Good deal. Is direction provided at this point?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Any others? Otherwise, we'll move on. Okay. New business, Central Basin 4 project pay application number 16.
Mayor and Council, this is not the final pay application. This is a progress payment that kind of wraps up this year's work through October 31. The project is substantially complete, but there are some final project cleanup items we need to do, and we need to finish up the Burlington Northern Crossing yet as well. So that's something that is not going to happen this year. It'll probably be next year if we can finalize an agreement with BNSF. So this payment is for $154,190.43. Been reviewed by the city engineer and recommended approval.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, we'll do a roll call. Swear.
Aye.
Welch.
Aye.
Mauer.
Aye.
Bandrell.
Aye.
Doherty.
Aye.
Bowers. Nope. Okay. Motion carries. On to Bandshell repair, C.
Pardon me,
Or did I
Mayor.
skip one?
Yep.
Metals repair, B, sorry, metals repair project final pay application.
Mayor and Council, this is a final pay application, but there are two motions here. The first one is to finalize change order 1 final, and then the second one will be to approve the pay application 3 in final. Been reviewed by the city engineer. We recommend approval.
And we're comfortable with damages?
We are comfortable with damages.
Any discussion? As I'll look for a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Motion to authorize mayor to sign change order 1 and final.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. We'll do a roll call for this then too. Vandrow.
Aye.
Doherty.
Aye.
Welch.
Aye.
Swear.
Aye.
Mauer.
Abstain.
Bowers. I don't think he's on yet.
Aye.
Oh, there he is. Okay, motion carries.
And motion to authorize mayor to sign pay application number 3 and final.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second to authorize pay application. Are you on the?
I was reading Stockwell's.
Yeah.
On Stockwell's, okay.
That's fine.
Yep. All right.
I want to give you a shout out.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, yeah. We have to vote on this too?
Yes.
All right, roll call?
Yep.
Okay. Mauer.
Abstain.
Swear.
Aye.
Bowers.
Aye.
Doherty.
Aye.
Welch.
Aye.
Vandrow.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Sorry, I got a little messy there for you, Chad. All right, covered it all, I think, there on that agenda item, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
We're good to go.
Sorry. Thinking of other things too here, so. All right, on to C, Bandshell repairs.
Mayor and council recall that the city arranged for a professional structural assessment of Bandshell this past summer. Did we provide that report earlier this year, but it's time to decide whether to pursue repairs next year. You'll recall that was done by Coke Hazard, reviewed the assessment with Coke Hazard, requested a cost estimate for the repairs, which they put at $40,000. Assuming you wish to proceed with repairs with funds from the second penny reserve, I would say we have two options here. You could combine the project with the museum roof and window project in 2025 that has yet to be rebid. We're planning to rebid that yet this fall or winter. That could save on the overall cost, but also require additional fees of Coke Hazard for approximately $9,200. Option two is to pursue the repairs with contractors separate from the museum project, since we're under the state's bid limit. Our preference is to include it in the museum project, take advantage of that architectural review and construction administration. This time we don't really need a motion, I just need direction and will of the council. If you take my recommendation, we'll build that into the bid to be released later this year.
What's the $9,200 from Coke Hazard? What is that additional fees cover?
Construction administration and bid preparation.
So I wasn't quite on council yet, but I was attending those meetings when you guys interviewed the architects for these and chose Coke Hazard. So just because I just it feels like the museum project is one thing and the Bandshell is another. So just because Coke Hazard is overseeing it, does that mean we have to use the same contractor for both? Because I feel like the Bandshell might be more specialized in the window, you know, they're just so different.
The Bandshell should not require any specialized contractor. Reviewing through the whole list of maybe more of the major items, there's nothing in there that a general contractor couldn't take care of.
Is there anything with the timing of this that would be better or worse for, you know, trying to keep the Bandshell open for the summer programs
Well, it's possible that with Coke Hazard administering it, I think it's likely that you've got somebody that's able to keep that project on schedule a lot easier than we're able to do ourselves. Yeah. That being said, you know, I would plan on the Bandshell being out of commission for the entire summer concert series. We talked about some alternate locations that I think are worthwhile, but our plan would be to keep it out of commission for the summer.
Do we think it would really, I mean, I guess it depends on the contractor and their schedule, but the band plays from May to first week of August, really. There's no possibility in delaying those repairs on the Bandshell to August?
It's possible, yes. Yeah, and we talked about that. The tighter we make that construction window though, the more likely the costs go up. So we like to have that's why we're rebidding the museum project, right? So that we've got a wider construction window for them to complete the work in, and it's not tightened down by winter weather. So it's possible you could say, okay, August, September, October, but what if you've got project delays, what if you've got material delays?
Yeah.
Then we're looking at change orders that bring us into the next year, so.
or even just being able to push it like as far back in summer as we can to utilize it.
Even after the 4th maybe, because you know that could impact our festivities in the park on the 4th. So if we could get it after July 4th, that would even be more ideal than the whole summer.
Yeah.
For that project.
Even for finding the ideal 12-week window is probably the challenge. That's something we can work with Coke Hazard on. You know, they can have those informal conversations with potential bidders to see, you know, what would work best for this group of general contractors.
Because I mean, even the museum's open on the 4th too, so that's kind of rough.
Right, I think we're gonna have to come to terms with that being a strong possibility. But we also, I mean, if having, you know, influence and trying to just say, if there's any way this fits in your schedule to start July 5th, that would be ideal.
That'd be great.
But you are also, you bid it at a number and we respect that. So here's the timeline that we put out and you're welcome to do it then, but if there's any way.
Yeah.
So if we, in our construction contracts with, whether it's, you know, our major public works projects, we always put a 3 or 4 day window around July 4, where no work is allowed to be completed on those projects. So whether it's Central Basin 4, Boynton, whatever it was, no work July 2, 3, 4.
Sure.
At minimum, so. I assume we do the same here, you know, and that the museum would be open for the 4th. What work is happening on the outside should not impact that at all.
Sure.
The Bandshell, that may be a different story.
Other discussion?
Do you need a motion or just a recommendation?
Just direction. If the council is in agreement, then we'll go that route.
I think that makes the most sense.
All right. Item D, dog park discussion.
Mayor and Council, I don't have a strong preference one way or another on this, but I know the community has talked about our dog parks for a long time. I think the first serious discussion we had was probably at the visiting session. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
I think you were there. Billy,
Is
I
in
think
that
you were there.
intermediate, when we're doing the, economic.
Yes, yep.
And the dog park has made its way into many conversations
Yes, it
since then.
has. So we don't currently have any use for this ground, and we do have a quote for the fencing, about $8,200. We have to do some concrete work too at the entrance. I don't think we put in any, maybe a couple benches that could be relocated in the future when we do make full use of this property. But if this is something you're interested in, say the word and we will try and make something happen. It's a small dog park. It's I think a third the size of the one in Harrisburg, which is not tiny, but it's smaller than Family Park, for example. So
My only question, I think this is a great use of the land that we've purchased, because obviously we can't do anything more with it at this point. My only question is liability insurance. Is there any, obviously dogs can be off leash in the fenced area, is there any liability to the city to have this, like, have we checked with Brett to see what type of, how this would be covered under city liability?
yeah, we can check with the pool and see what coverage would look like.
Sure.
I mean, we've got general liability and everything else under our pool umbrella.
Okay.
So I wouldn't necessarily worry about, you know, is something going to be covered or not? Does it create more liability? Yeah.
But I mean, if somebody goes to the dog park, I mean, they're there willingly, but if somebody else's dog happens to bite them, like, is that gonna come back to bite the city in a
It
sense?
should not,
You know?
no.
Okay.
As long as we set up the rules and ground rules for having dogs there, that they're vaccinated, they're licensed, you know, no aggressive dogs, those kinds of things.
Post
That liability is on the owner.
Okay.
Should be.
Is there anything with the?
Nate, do we need to also include some signage, like the pool rules or at the pool on the fence? Can that, I know this quote is for the fencing, do we need to talk about additional financing for rules and just other information that maybe need to be posted at that site?
Yes, what I'd like to do, the only quote I have so far is on the fencing. I didn't want to go too deep into this in case we didn't think that it was worthwhile, but if you do, then we'll go out, we'll look at the concrete plan, we'll try and figure out where exactly the fence goes, because they don't want to be all the way to the south property line, given how close it is to that house. Signage, dog waste stations, all those kinds of things would have to be figured in as well.
Yeah, I think the way we pose this to the community is, this isn't a permanent necessarily, it could be, but it's not really intended to be a permanent solution. It's more of a proof of a concept.
Right.
And it's like we have the ability to kind of build a dog park that's not what we want long-term, but it's a dog park, we don't have one today. And if we find out that it's full every weekend and it's, jam-packed and the community is demanding it, maybe we prioritize trying to find a long-term solution there. If we find that it's never used, then maybe
we know.
Then maybe we know, and it's a cheap way to find that out rather than go and acquire $500,000 of land and construction and then find out nobody will use it. So I think just for that purpose, $8,000 or whatever is worth it. And I mean, it's giving another amenity to the community that's, not the ideal solution, but it's a solution that's better than what we have today.
I wonder if they would use the fence company, if they would use the foam that you pour into I don't know if anyone's seen that.
Instead of concrete footings?
Yeah, instead of concrete, and then, at least
Easier.
the fence post could easily be reused or whatever.
I wonder the same with the chain link, yeah.
I was was having a conversation with one of my family members about this proposed dog park and location. And they said it would be much smaller than the one in Harrisburg, but Harrisburg has a boatload of apartments. And they've got a lot of folks that don't have a yard to put their dog in or walk their dog. And he thought maybe we wouldn't see as much action in our park, and starting small is a good place to gauge that. But it's an interesting concept. I hadn't really considered the fact that we don't have a whole lot of apartment dwellers here.
No.
So are we, I mean, we'll see. It'll be fun to see.
I just think it's a good use of land that's currently sitting, so I would support this.
Yeah, I mean, we've got other land too, like we've got the lot on Garfield, but you know, I think we need to talk to LADC about what the final plan is for that.
Yep.
And it's a residential neighborhood, with minimal parking, right here, we've got some stuff nearby, so.
Yep. No, I think it makes sense.
I think we'll put a project together.
Good deal.
Might be a great project for a future park and rec director.
Ah, yes. Get one quick win.
Okay, that's it under new business. I'll entertain a motion to enter to executive session on, for personnel reasons.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Thank you, Ryan.
Opposed, same sign.
Thanks, Josh.
All right, I now
Have a good
declare
night.
us an executive session at 8:30 p.m.
Yeah, keep those pictures coming.
Josh is Ryan's bodyguard.
That was his role tonight.
Little guy.
Yeah, a little bit.